Welcome to the Deep Dive. You know how we usually take articles and research and break them down for you? Well, today's a bit different. We stumbled across this story actually from a YouTube transcript, and honestly, it's chilling. It takes us right into this unexplained mystery in Bangkok. We're going to walk you through everything exactly as it happened to this woman, Kay Lee. Oh, and just so you know, when we say Kay, like Kay Lee or Kay Toi, in Thailand, Kay means kun. It's like saying Mr. or M's. Just a polite title. You hear it all the time there. Okay, so the story starts with Kay Lee. She's trying to help out a good friend, someone living over in Australia. This friend wants to move back to Thailand, start a small business. A t-shirt screen printing shop specifically. But the friend's budget for rent, only 15,000 baht a month.
Wow. Okay, for context, that's maybe, what, 450 US dollars?
Exactly. Which, for a commercial building in Bangkok, Kay Lee basically thought it was laughable.
Yeah, finding anything decent in the city center for that, almost impossible.
Right. But, you know, she's a good friend. So she says, okay, I'll try. She calls up her friend who's a real estate agent, Kay Toi. Explains the situation. The crazy low budget, the location needed.
And Kay Toi must have thought the same thing, I imagine.
Pretty much. Doubtful, yeah, but promised to check her listings. And then, maybe 2 hours later, surprisingly, Kay Toi calls back.
No way. She found something.
She did. A building. In Bangkhen, which is, a busy area, said the full rent was 25,000 baht, but the owner dropped it right down to 15,000.
Just like that? Why?
Well, according to Kay Toi, the building was old, and it had been empty for a really long time. Like, nobody was even coming to look at it anymore. So Kay Toi sends Kay Lee the location.
A big discount. Busy area. But old and vacant for ages.
Sounds a bit too good to be true, doesn't it?
It really does. And that initial skepticism from both Kay Lee and Kay Toi, it's telling. A deal like that, especially with property described as old and vacant, often means there's more to the story than just needing repairs. Sometimes it suggests a reputation, something that scares people off.
Right. So fast forward to the viewing day. Kay Lee is ready to go check it out. But Kay Toi cancels last minute. Says she has a big work thing.
Convenient.
Yeah. But she says she'll send someone else to show the place. Kay Lee's fine with it, takes her usual taxi guy uncle, friendly driver she knows. They get to Bangkhen, turn down this little alley, a soy. And within like 20 meters, she sees these shop houses lined up. Her first thought is, wow, great spot. Why is it so cheap? Why hasn't it rented?
The $1 million question, or rather the 15,000 baht question?
Exactly. So the GPS says they're close. Kay Lee leans out the window looking around, and then she spots her.
Spots who?
A woman, standing right in front of this old building, smiling and waving. Kay Lee figures, okay, this must be the person Kay Toi sent. Tells Uncle to pull over, she hops out. As she gets closer, she notices the woman is, well, stunningly beautiful. Dressed really sharp like a bank employee. Long sleeve suit, knee-length skirt, heels.
Interesting attire for showing a dilapidated building.
Right. The woman introduces herself as Mrs. Fa. It says she's there to show the building. Mrs. Fa explains there are 3 units, empty side by side, 11, 12, and 13. Kay Lee thinks, okay, I want the middle one, number 12. Don't want to be right next to anyone, so she picks 12.
So we have the mysterious substitute agent, Mrs. Fa, who's dressed maybe a bit too well. And Kay Lee makes this very specific choice for Unit 12.
Yeah, you can sort of feel things getting a little strange here.
Definitely. And Kay Lee just accepts Mrs. Fa, even though Kay Toi said she was sending someone else. It's like she's being drawn in by the possibility of the deal. Choosing Unit 12, specifically the middle one, sometimes these choices feel guided in these kinds of stories.
Okay, so Mrs. Fa takes Kay Lee over to Unit 12. And right away, Kay Lee sees just how run down it is. Old metal roll-up door, all rusty and worn. Then, as Mrs. Fa lifts the door, Kay Lee notices something else that's weird.
What's that?
It wasn't locked. Like anyone could have just walked in.
That's not typical for a vacant property, even a cheap one. Security,
Right. Yeah. Inside. Even more surprising, it's incredibly dark. Even though it's daytime outside, barely any light gets in. Kay Lee immediately thinks, this is bad feng shui.
Which, for many people in Thailand, that feeling of darkness and stagnant energy, that's a big deal. It suggests imbalance, bad luck.
Totally. The floor is old, polished concrete, paint peeling off the walls, just bleak. Kay Lee asks Mrs. Fa, can you turn on the lights? Miss Fa goes over to the electrical box, fiddles with it for a bit. Nothing.
No lights.
Nope. Miss Fa just says, oh, if you rent it, we'll get an electrician to rewire it when you sign the contract.
That's odd. You'd think they'd want the lights working for the viewing.
Kay Lee thought so too. So it's super dark. They both have to use their phone flashlights to see anything. The whole atmosphere is just eerie.
I can imagine. Phone flashlight tours are never a good sign.
So they're about to head up to the second floor. But Kaylee hears this noise, like someone stepping on broken tiles, coming from a little room under the stairs. She's curious, opens the door. It's just an old, wrecked bathroom. Broken tiles all over the floor. She closes the door, turns to go upstairs.
And let me guess, something happens with the door.
You got it. As she's on the landing, looking down, she sees that bathroom door, the one she just closed, slowly swing open. All by itself.
Whoa.
Yeah. She tries to rationalize it, maybe wind. But there's no draft inside.
Right, sealed up dark building, no breeze.
Still, she kind of pushes it aside mentally, decides to ignore it, keeps going up to the third floor.
These aren't just random things, though, are they? The unlocked door, the darkness, the lights not working, the sound, the door opening. It's like a pattern emerging. Little warning signs.
Different feels that way. So she heads up to the third floor. The stairs, the railings, everything's thick with dust, cobwebs. Looks like nobody's touched it in years.
Yeah.
The third floor itself is just this big open hall, but right in the middle of the room, there's this huge wardrobe. Antique looking, old, weathered.
Just standing there, alone.
Smack dab in the middle. And weirdly, the door is slightly open, just a crack. Okay.
Kaylee shines her phone light on it, reaches out, thinking she'll just pick inside. But just as her hand gets close, Mrs. Fa, who was behind her, suddenly rushes forward, slams her body against the wardrobe, blocking Kaylee completely.
What?
Miss Fa just quickly says, "Oh, nothing in there. Let's just go straight to the fourth floor." Kaylee's confused, a bit annoyed now. She wanted to look. By this point, she's thinking, okay, this place is a definite no. Too old, too creepy.
I would be too. That's very strange behavior from Mrs. Fa.
So Kaylee tries to text her friend in Australia like, this place is a bust, but the message won't send, just says delay. Then she thinks, okay, I'll take photos to show her later why it's bad. Phone won't take pictures either.
Seriously, tech problems.
Yeah. She blames it on the heat, maybe her hands are sweaty, messing with the screen, figures it doesn't matter. Anyway, she's not renting it.
Okay, but the phone issues add another layer of weirdness.
For sure. So Mrs. Fowl leads her up towards the fourth floor, and what Kaylee sees up there, even more shocking.
Oh boy. What now? The fourth floor. It's filled with old hospital beds.
Hospital beds, like patient beds.
Yeah, 4 of them.
Yeah.
Old, clearly used, just lined up.
Okay, that is deeply unsettling. Goosebumps, definitely.
Totally. Kaylee's feeling really scared now, just wants some light, some air. She asks Miss Fa, can you please open a window? Miss Fa refuses, just says, no need, we'll be done soon, going to the 5th floor next.
Still pushing her upwards.
But Kaylee's had enough. She needs light, needs to feel less trapped. She goes to a window herself, forces it open. It's rusty, sends dust flying everywhere. And she turns back to Mrs. Fa and asks, what are these beds doing here?
Yeah, good question. What does Miss Fa say?
Mrs. Fa just calmly replies, oh, the previous owner sold medical equipment.
Medical equipment. Old, used beds on the 4th floor.
Kaylee thinks exactly that. It makes no sense. Medical equipment sold is usually new and heavy stuff like beds. You'd keep them on the 1st or 2nd floor for easier moving, right? Not the 4th.
Absolutely. That explanation is incredibly thin, almost insulting. Like she's not even trying to be convincing.
Right. Kaylee is ready to just say thanks but no thanks and leave. But Miss Fa insists, oh, let's just see the 5th floor since we're already here.
Wow. Persistent.
Kaylee feels awkward saying no now, doesn't want to be rude after coming all this way, so she reluctantly agrees. Like, okay, fine, just one more floor.
You can feel the dread building. Why is Miss Fa so insistent? Blocking the wardrobe, the flimsy excuse for the beds, pushing her to the 5th floor. It points to something specific she wants Kaylee to see, or maybe something she doesn't want her to piece together until the end.
So Kaylee goes to close that window she forced open. It's rusty, stiff, she has to use both hands, pulls hard. It slams shut with this really loud bang. The force actually makes her stumble and fall to the floor.
Oh, wow.
She turns around, embarrassed, ready to apologize to Miss Fi for the noise and, falling over. And Miss Fi is gone.
Gone. Just vanish.
Completely vanished.
Congrats.
Kaylee is suddenly alone on the 4th floor.
Yeah.
Just her and those creepy hospital beds.
Okay, now that is terrifying.
She's frantic.
Yeah.
Calls out Miss Fa. Mrs. Fa. Thinks maybe she went ahead to the floor without her. So, phone flashlight back on, heart pounding. She slowly makes her way up the final flight of stairs.
Yeah.
And when she gets to the top, the 5th floor,
Yeah.
she just freezes.
What does she see?
It's another large, empty hall.
Yeah.
But in the center, there's a big pillar, or maybe a structural beam. And hanging from that beam is a single rope,
Oh, no.
just hanging there, and it's gently swaying, like there's a breeze. But Kaylee knows there's no wind in the building, none.
Chilling. And
And around the base of that pillar, where the rope is hanging, there are offerings. 5 or 6 old, dried flower garlands, incense pots, and those little bottles of red drink, like Fanta.
oh, wow. Okay, those offerings, garlands, incense, the red drinks, that's very specific in Thai culture. That usually signifies offerings made to a spirit, especially one that died tragically or violently right there. It's meant to appease them or honor them.
Exactly. Seeing the rope, the offerings, it all clicks in the most horrifying way. Kaylee just collapses. Her knees give out, she sinks to the floor, scrambling mentally, just telling herself, get out, now W.
I don't blame her. That scene is unmistakable. It confirms the worst fears about why the place was empty and cheap.
She somehow pulls herself together, gets up, and just bolts.
Yeah.
Runs down the stairs from the 5th floor. But as she gets back to the 4th floor landing, she freezes again.
But now...
There's a man walking up the stairs towards her.
Oh my god!
Kaylee just screams, sinks down again, totally terrified. The man stops, clearly startled by her screaming, asks her, "Who are you? How did you get in here?" Kaylee, completely shaken, manages to say she had an appointment with Ms. Fa, but she disappeared.
And what does the man say?
He looks totally confused. Says, "Fa, there's no one named Fa working here." He introduces himself. "My name is Kay Anik. I'm the one who takes care of this building."
Kay Anik, not Miss Fa.
Right. Kaylee is stunned. Kay Anik looks past her, sees the hospital beds on the 4th floor, and he looks disturbed now too. Without even really knowing her, he just grabs her hand and basically pulls down the rest of the stairs and out of the building. Fast.
Smart move. Get out first. Ask questions later.
Once they're outside, they both kind of catch their breath. Huge sense of relief. Kaylee tells him the whole story, describes Mrs. Fan. Kay says, "Look, Kay Toei sent me. Not someone named Fa.
Yeah.
He says he normally works with condos, not shop houses anyway." He tells her to call Kay Toei right now to check.
Okay, so the substitute wasn't sent by the agent after all.
Kaylee calls Kay Toei immediately. Kay Toei insists, "No, I sent Kay Anik. I don't know any Fa." Kaylee's getting frustrated, angry, hangs up. But then she remembers Uncle, the taxi driver.
Ah, the witness.
Exactly. She goes over to the taxi, asks Uncle, "Did you see me walk into that building with a woman?" And Uncle says, "Yes, you went in with that woman, Faye."
Confirmation. He saw her too.
Armed with that, Kaylee calls Kay Toei back. Demands the truth. Uncle saw her, who was Fa. Kay Toei denies it again, denies it. But then, finally, she breaks down.
And the truth comes out.
Truth comes out. Kay Toei confesses there was only one person named Fa connected to that building. She was the wife of the owner. And she died 4 years ago.
Oh, wow. How?
She'd had a huge fight with her husband, apparently, over an affair. Heartbroken, she went to Unit 12. And she hanged herself on the 5th floor.
The 5th floor. The rope. The offerings, Mrs. Fa.
It all clicked. The beautiful woman who showed her the building, who blocked the wardrobe, who vanished. Kaylee had met the ghost of the owner's wife.
Incredible. And the fact that this happened in broad daylight, like you said, it really challenges that typical ghost story trope of things only happening at night. It suggests these presences, these energies, they aren't bound by our schedules or the time of day. They exist, and sometimes they interact.
What a story, honestly. We started with just trying to find a cheap rental and ended up with this complete terrifying narrative where every weird detail, from the price to the hospital beds to the rope, it all tied together in the end.
It really forces you to wonder, doesn't it?
What's hiding in plain sight in these empty spaces around us?
Absolutely. It makes you look at old vacant buildings a little differently, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Wonder what stories they hold.
A really thought-provoking one today. We hope this dive into Kaylee's experience gave you, well, something to think about. Maybe keep the lights on tonight. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll be back soon with more sources, more stories, more knowledge to unpack. Until then, keep exploring and stay curious.